You entrusted your loved one's care to a nursing home, expecting compassion and quality treatment. Instead, they suffered from neglect, abuse, bed sores, falls, or medication errors that could have been prevented. I'm Chris Brown from Geiger Legal Group. Our elderly deserve dignity and proper care, not negligence that causes pain and suffering. When nursing homes fail in their duty of care, we fight to hold them accountable. Your loved one's suffering matters. We'll stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves.
Call Geiger Legal Group at 833-HELP-GLG and let us tell your story today.
You snoozed twice this morning, spilled your coffee once, and you've already blamed last night's referee for your morning mood.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's time to embrace the chaos and step into the madness.
Bro, you about to see a side of me you didn't even know existed.
Featuring guests who are over-caffeinated and less reasonable than the average person.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Come on, man. Are you serious? Ugh.
Fans, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Welcome to the show.
So buckle up. It's time for hot takes and hot mics. This is the Morning Rant, where the only thing more unpredictable is Dave before his third cup of coffee.
I just felt like running.
On WPGY, the Sports Pig.
I want my 3 minutes back. Good morning, everyone. Dave Garner alongside Big John Davis. For some reason, the system didn't start on time here, so we're actually a couple minutes after 10 o'clock joining you right here on a Monday morning. But, hey, we are here, and we'll find a way to make up those 2 or 3 minutes lost with you right here on the program. But Big John is always joining us right here on a Mafia Monday. That's right. It's our Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. Thanks for being with us right here. Sorry for the confusion. We're having a few technical issues there. Had to run and go grab Aaron Childers, again, our technical guy here. For some reason, it didn't catch the cue there, so it wanted to go back to ESPN Radio. But we said, nope, we're going to hijack it. We're going to take it, and we're going to do our thing as we always do right here on Monday mornings at 10 o'clock. So, Big John, thanks for being with us. Buddy, how you doing, man?
Great, doing great. What a great weekend. Had kids dinner over with the kids yesterday, and it was nice catching up with them. Hope you had a great day. It was the weather was great, and just a lazy day. That's the way Father's Day should be.
It should be, yeah. So I actually went down yesterday. My son and I he had gotten some passes, I guess, if you will, to the World Cup Fan Festival down at Centennial Olympic Park. Next to, of course, you can't really call it Mercedes-Benz Stadium during the World Cup. It's Atlanta Stadium. But yeah, and obviously Centennial is where they have the watch parties and all that stuff. So we got the passes, went down there yesterday, and I thought, well, this is a good Father's Day thing, and we kind of planned to go anyway. But yeah, man, it was great. I mean, it was a great atmosphere. There were a lot of folks, of course, a lot of Spaniards, a lot of folks cheering on Spain as of course, Spain got it done over Saudi Arabia. That game was played in Atlanta with a 12 o'clock kickoff. So, the grounds open around 10 a.m. and, by 10:30, I mean, it was already, just hustling. Everybody was there, of course, with the early afternoon match in Atlanta. Now, we didn't stick around much past that after it ended. We walked around a little bit, but man, it was a good vibe. It was fun. I mean, and I hate, I'm always the biggest complainer about Atlanta traffic, but I gotta say, man, give credit where credit's due. I mean, it pretty much flowed in and back home. I mean, pretty
nice.
Good.
Yeah, it reminded me, we were on the road the other day. We went up to Canton to see some friends Saturday. And we came back and 75 was completely shut down. And what it reminded me of is when the Olympics came around, they're like, do not take the corridor. Do not take I-75. Just stay away. It's going to be miserable and everything. Well, everybody stayed away, and you could, literally, it was a ghost town. But I'll be damned, don't get on 285 because you're not going to go anywhere for 3 weeks. And I have a feeling that's kind of what's going on now, that they've redirected the traffic all outside of Atlanta just to show that traffic does not have a traffic problem in the immediate downtown area.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they did all that construction, for the month or weeks leading up to it, months leading up to it. And so again, but I was telling my son about that too. You brought up a good point about Atlanta and of course hosting the Olympics. I remember back in '96, we had the Olympics here, and it was very much, sitting down there yesterday, it was very much that same kind of vibe, that same kind of international, worldly kind of excitement. People from, different nationalities all kind of joining in, but everybody was really having a good time. I mean, the Olympics was gigantic because it was all here,
Right,
it wasn't spread out over the country like the World Cup is. I mean, everything was in Atlanta, so the world was really hyper-focused on
and you're going to see it, you'll see a new set of people next week, I guess, whenever they start putting the knockout, when they start putting the knockout stages together.
That's right. There was a guy yesterday that had a kilt on. He was Scotland. Had a kilt on, and so you saw a few fans creeping.
Well, they conquered Boston, so I guess now they're headed to Atlanta.
Well, you and I talked about it on our Happy Hour Friday show, by the way, which we had a great time at Bradley's. For those of you that came by, we appreciate it. For those of you that listened, certainly appreciate that. We had some big news that we talked about, and we'll mention that again here today in case you missed us. But it was funny because I was reading all the stories about the Scots basically drying up all the bars in Boston. I mean, there was one particular bar owner that went through like 4,000 pints, 90 kegs or something crazy. They were having to put in a quote-unquote emergency beer order because they ran out, and they said, they don't even do that over a 4-day holiday stretch like a July 4th weekend, for example. They don't go through that much over a 4-day period is what they did basically in one day or one weekend with the Scots in town.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of fun. Hey, come on up to North Georgia and get a hold of some of these hillbillies. We'll go pint for pint with you.
There you go, man. Hey, I'd love to see it right there, man. I tell you what, they'd probably be up for the challenge. But man, a lot of things going on over the weekend as we talked about. Had some big news, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. From Friday as we talk about expanding the show right here. For those of you that missed it on Friday, yes, we are going to be expanding this program, and again, we'll mention that in a few minutes. Some headlines from the weekend. Wyndham Clark, again, U.S. Open. A lot of news and notes from that. Of course, also the College Baseball World Series with a decisive Game 3 tonight at 7 p.m. So in the midst of all the World Cup and U.S. Open, we've got college baseball coming down to the very end. Oklahoma losing yesterday to North Carolina. That was the first loss I read in like 22 days.
Wow.
North Carolina,
11 games, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Oklahoma got the win on Saturday over North Carolina, but then the Tar Heels forcing the Game 3 tonight, the decisive Game 3 at 7 o'clock out in Omaha. Again, NASCAR this weekend, running on a naval base out there in San Diego, and again, it was Corey Heim getting the road course dub there. Basically, a lot of the hired guns showing out there. Of course, the Braves do take 2 of 3 from the Brewers. They bounce back a little bit after having lost 6 out of their last 7, but don't look now, folks. The Phillies are just 6.5 games back. We'll talk about that as well. And, of course, all the latest news as far as college and NFL football and stuff as well. But, man, so you had a good weekend, Father's Day weekend. You get to spend some time with some family, I guess?
Yeah, everybody was great. John Henry and Kylie and Luke and Julie came over, had some lasagna, just chilled out. It was basically, obviously the Father's Day. So it was, I was just sitting back watching some golf and ran a couple of errands, and it's the kind of Saturday that you've worked for all your life, and now you're getting to experience it a little bit more.
Oh, man, I love it. Yeah, it's one of those things. You were talking about golf. I don't know if you saw the story, and, of course, we'll talk about Wyndham Clark here in a minute. But the young guy, man, the high school golfer competing in the U.S. Open, surprising his dad with caddy duty on Father's Day. Again, Miles Russell, a high school student down in Providence School in Florida, again, on Father's Day was able to get his dad out there. I guess the PGA kind of allowed him to come out, I think, for the final hole maybe of the tournament there, and allowed his dad to throw on the caddy gear and come out there and caddy for his son on Father's Day there to end the tournament. It was pretty cool.
No, that was really cool. And what an experience for these guys. And I'm looking at all the amateurs right now, and the highest one was a +5. I guess he took the medal home. Well, there was a tie, it looked like, with Ryan Cohen. Yeah, but man, what a great experience. I did see that, and I thought, how cool is that? Because you got to jump hoops to be be able to do something like that, especially with security and everything. But that's the thing about U.S. Open. You got Father's Day going on the weekend of, and iconic golf courses, and the guys that aren't up at the top that you would kind of think that were at the top. Scheffler just couldn't get it going, couldn't hit a putt to save his life. Sam Burns obviously missed two or three, I think, down at the home stretch, and that kind of knocked him out a little bit. And then Tom Kim was always animated with his golf and everything. But it's a great weekend, and some new golfers. Some of these guys are stepping up, and I think what happens is that with the golf, and not to get too much into it, these seasoned players have now just decided to choose about 12 of their 13 or 14 favorite tournaments that they want to play in, and so these young guys, they see a huge opportunity to not only get FedEx points, but to get a win under the belt so they can secure some of these majors, for 5 years down the road, and they don't have to really worry about it. Once they get their card, they can go out there and you can start seeing what, because these guys, grow up on the Korn Ferry Tour, and I know it's still is golf, but Korn Ferry is not as much pressure, except if you're the one in it, trying to get up to the PGA. But once these guys, you see the complete difference, and once these guys get their PGA card, because now they can just kind of, they take it in two angles. They're like, okay, I've got to go balls to the wall 100 miles an hour, and then they get burned out. Or they say, slow and steady, let's work to, let's now put our goals in place and work to get these goals, and, whether it's in the top 20, top 15, top 10. But, watching some of these young golfers is a lot of fun, and just watching their attitudes and everything compared to golfers that you and I grew up watching.
Right. Oh, yeah, exactly. So nice. He had to do it twice. Wyndham Clark, the 24th multi-time U.S. Open winner, as, again, he gets it done again at Shinnecock. And, the U.S. Open, another major in the book right here. Scheffler, as you mentioned, was kind of in the mix, all weekend. Just couldn't really get that breakthrough. I mean, Clark was really in another zip code, for most of the tournament, as he kind of led throughout right there. Hey, keep it right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia. We appreciate you guys being with us. When we come back here, we're going to break down a little bit of the news that we talked about on Friday, in case you missed it. And, of course, our Jasper Coca-Cola text line is open, as always, 866-888-0744. Chime in. Tell us what you think about your Atlanta Braves or anything going on right now in the world of sports as we tie it back in to our community. Thanks for being with us. Visit us on social media. We'll be right back here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia. That's the Sports Pig app, and online at sportspigradio.com.
Make your home's air healthier. Green Heating and Cooling can help by installing a Bryant Evolution air purifier just for you. Using Captures and Kills technology, this highly advanced MERV15 filter captures many select airborne pathogens. It also helps improve indoor air quality for both asthma and allergy sufferers by filtering air impurities like dust, pollen, and pet dander. Call to schedule an evaluation. Green Heating and Cooling, your top Bryant authorized dealer, whatever it takes.
Time to hang it in the Louvre.
Oh, this looks nice.
Our favorite moments from the week in sports here on the Morning Rant.
Back here on a Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant, Dave Garner and the refrigerator mover Big John Davis with you right here on a Monday. A little bit of rain in the forecast today here in North Georgia, but for the most part, man, it was a beautiful Father's Day weekend. We hope all the dads had a great time out there. And, it's like we talked about, man, whether you had the U.S. Open on, whether you're watching World Cup or maybe checking in on the Braves, there were a lot of things that you could focus your eyes on this weekend, man. And so I love it. A lot of stuff.
No, a lot of stuff going on. And also, think about the baseball game tonight, the UNC in Oklahoma. That, I think, is going to end the college sports year for 25, 26. And so now I think, Dave, we finally are getting into where, besides the World Cup in baseball, we can kind of take a deep breath, I'm hoping, with this football stuff going on. I know that they're taking, they're going into the Senate to try to pass some legislation on this NIL, which obviously we're going to continue to talk about, but it's going to be interesting to see the changes they make and continue to make as well. So it's football's year round. It's not quarterly or semi-annually anymore. It's year round with everything that's going on. So and college as well.
You and I are admittedly big football fans, as is most all of North Georgia, and certainly our listener base. So, again, no worries there, man. We'll talk football year round. I don't think anybody will have a problem with that at all. So, we appreciate you guys being with us. Hey, our Jasper Coca-Cola text line already popping off, man, 866-888-0744. Just had a text on here that says, can't wait to hear the big announcement. Well, again, whoever you are, you must have not listened to us on Friday. Oh, you just told on yourself, or you would have known. But we're going to go ahead and talk about it right here just for a few minutes right there in case you missed us on Friday. Of course, we had our second leg of our Bradley's Brunch and Lunch Summer Tour. Now, we'll be back there in 2 weeks. So, again, not this Friday, but next Friday, July the 3rd, we'll be back at Bradley's for what will be the final leg as we celebrate July 4th weekend. So this past Friday, we were there kind of celebrating Father's Day weekend. We'll be there in a couple of weeks as we celebrate Independence Day. And this is a big one, man, 250th birthday for our country. So we're going to have a lot of fun at Bradley's. Join us not this Friday, but next Friday back there. But, we made the big announcement on Friday about this show. And the target date's July 20th, but we are expanding the Morning Rant of this program to 2 hours. So when we came on the air, and John, I'll let you speak to this as well. When we came on the air, really the one of the biggest goals that we had right off the bat was, hey, as quick as we can get this show to 2 hours. Now, there's factors that determine that. Obviously, there's partnerships and different things that have to happen in order to make that come true. But again, that was one of our biggest goals right off the bat. Was like, look, let's start at an hour. Let's see how it goes. Let's gauge the listenership and the response, and then we'll go from there. And so here we are, just a few months into this thing, and the Morning Rant will be expanding to 2 hours. Now, the other part of that news is we're moving our time slot. We're going to have a much more favorable live time slot during the morning drive hours. 7 to 9 is where we're going. Again, morning drive and radio is usually anywhere from 6 to 10. But it is the most listened to time on the dial traditionally, and it still is even today, because folks love to start their day off by listening to their car, radio driving to your work or what have you. So beginning July 20th, the Morning Rant, 7 to 9 live right here on the Sports Pig, on the app, and on sportspigradio.com. Also over the dial at 98.1, 93.7, and 101.1 on the HD2 dial if you're fortunate enough to have HD radio. But that's what's going to happen there. And then we've got some other announcements and things that are going to be coming as we get closer, as John said, to football season. But yeah, man, very excited about it.
Yeah, everybody I've talked to are excited, and it's I'll never forget going back when we started talking about it last fall or whatever, into summer, but through winter and everything, I would always say, man, how are we going to fill up an hour? How are we going to how are we going to be able to give enough information in an hour to get us through? And lo and behold, the first week that we did the show, we felt like it moved light years from what we exactly expected. So no, this is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very informative. Like I said, it is going to be fun. We're not going to take ourselves too seriously. We want to celebrate the athletes in our area, high school athletes, coaches as well, and bring some sports news and what's going on during the day. But I think one of the big things is we'd love to hear from y'all, the fans.
Oh,
we'll get to a point to where we'll have a phone line put in for Dave there at headquarters, and we've got the text line now, which we're getting more and more text every day. So we'd love to hear how y'all are doing and what do y'all want to listen to? What do y'all want us to talk about? And that gives us a little bit more of an idea to stay in tune with y'all.
Right, there you go. I love it. Speaking of the text line, again, another listener just chimed in. Phil from Canton says, hey, can Ozzie Albies return to All-Star form and carry this offense? Well, it may have to. I mean, when you look at it right now, if you look at fantasy baseball, if you're a fantasy sports player and you do the ESPN app or what have you, Ozzie Albies right now is the number one second baseman in Major League Baseball.
Wow.
Offensively, and also, of course, as we know, carries a decent glove. But when you look at his production right now, I think he's kind of been overshadowed a little bit. I think obviously deserving of an all-star spot. He and Mauricio Dubon both. Dubon's a guy that kind of moves around. The only thing with Mauricio is he's listed as an outfielder, even though he may eventually be a regular, middle infielder when all is said and done. Right now, he's been playing the bulk of his, innings out in the outfield, and so again, as an all-star, he'll have to make it in as an outfielder more than likely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Ozzie's a guy right now. We saw him hit the walk-off the other night when the Braves were down to the ninth inning, the 2-run homer there to walk it off to get the win over the Brewers. That's really the shot in the arm that this team needed. They needed something well to happen, I think, over the weekend against a pretty good Milwaukee team.
Yeah, no, it came at the, obviously the right time. The thing, you're talking about was it Dubon playing shortstop or whatever? That the term utility comes in, because I think one of the things that we haven't talked about, Dave, and one of the things that we might more and more is that I just don't think, unless you're just a stud at that position, I'm finding more and more players are having to play 2 or 3 positions. Yes. Right now, and I've seen it more so this year in baseball, and obviously Olsen, going out to right field, because you got to keep your best players in there. So where are you going to play them? You got to find you got what in Dale Murphy. I think Dale Murphy started at center field, and then I think they moved him to first base, and then he might have ended up in right field. It's that one position. Oh no, I don't want to end up in right field. Well, if you want 4 or 5 years of your career left, you do want to be in right field. But no, you're starting to see the utility player come in, and I think that's what hopefully will get the Braves through to get the 9 best players. When I played in the NFL, you had to learn every position, because when you're not a number 1 pick, you're not given that one position. So it serves you well to learn all these positions, and even though you're only going to have to play sparingly, it's always good to know that Walt has a player that he can depend on just to stick him out there and know that he's not going to miss a beat.
Exactly. And for those of you, I mean, Olsen was out in right field because they had to bring in Rowdy Tellez or wanted to bring him in the other night, but he hit a home run yesterday. Now the Braves got thumped pretty good. Bryce Elder just continues to struggle a little bit here on the year. He gave up a lot. He gave up 12 hits, I think, and 6 or 8 earned runs yesterday. But anyway, Braves do lose the third game of the series, and now they travel out to the West Coast. First pitch tonight, 10 after 10 out there in San Diego. So it's going to be a tough stretch here when you look at the week ahead for the Atlanta Braves. We'll talk about it a little bit more tomorrow as things get rocking and rolling. Hey, another texter. We're just getting to some of your calls right here. Again, some of your texts right here on the Jasper Coca-Cola text line at 866-888-0744. Another listener says, hey, what are your thoughts on this being Messi and Ronaldo's last World Cup? A lot of attention on Ronaldo to see how he performs, having never won a World Cup before. I've always said it, and this year especially, there are a lot of folks that were really dogging on Ronaldo and saying that he was extremely ineffective in the first match for Portugal, and I can't really argue with that. And then you look at what Messi did with, coming out as the oldest player to record a hat trick in World Cup history, and then, of course, to also eclipse the record in his first match out, and you see that he's still playing at a high level. There's a lot of folks that feel like maybe Ronaldo's washed. Messi maybe still got a little bit of juice in the tank, even though he's playing, club-wise here in America with the MLS. Usually by the time those guys hit the MLS, that's kind of their retirement gig. Like, they're pretty much done. The MLS admittedly is not the highest form of soccer around the world, unlike all the other major American leagues that are the highest, the pinnacle. So yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a discussion right there about the all-time greats.
Well, how many years have we heard Ronaldo's name? It's not like he's a flash in the pan. The guy was a stud for years and years. So Dave, it's like you and I talk about. We're getting a little bit older. Well, these athletes, guess what? They are too. So we're watching Yeah, we're watching the players that we grew up with get a little age in them, and we're watching some of the younger players, that grew up in the leagues, and now we're watching them get a little bit older. And, it's going back to talking about the tennis with Djokovic and Novak. I mean, my goodness, they've been talked about for 20 plus years, back when they were 17 and 18. So, for them to be able to do what they've done for that many years is remarkable. And I have a feeling Ronaldo's got a little bit left in him. We might see something different from him this week.
Might see a bounce back. Yeah, we might see a bounce back for sure. America, meanwhile, getting it done on Friday over Australia, and they've already locked up group play. It's the first time, John, and I found this out, that the U.S. men's soccer team, national team, has won back-to-back matches in a World Cup since the very first World Cup in 1930.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
They get the dub over Australia on Friday. They've already clinched the top seed group play, so they're moving on. They'll play. And by the way, I guess I've been living under a rock for the last, I don't know, however many years. It's no longer called Turkey. It's Turkey.
That's what they said. Yeah, I didn't quite get that last night before I went to bed. So I just thought I would figure that you would say something about it.
Yeah, so again,
and go with it.
Turkey. Czechoslovakia is now Czechia. Turkey is now Turkey officially. But the U.S. will take on Turkey Friday at 9 p.m. In a game that really doesn't mean a lot. You got to wonder. I mean, Pulisic probably still going to be resting because he's had the issues there. So it does allow you to rest some of your players because no matter what happens against Turkey, now you still want to win it for, country pride. You got fans showing up, paying big money, so you want to put a good product on the field. But for the grand scheme of, advancing, it doesn't mean a whole lot there. But nonetheless, man, a lot of things going on right now in the world and in the country as the United States is the focus of a lot of folks, and it's just great seeing all the fan stories and so forth right there. So, yeah.
And I'm looking at a picture of them right now, Dave. I don't even think they're over 20 years old, except for the two guys on the end, the goalie, and it looked like it's the captain. And they got a look on their face like, I got to deal with these little crap heads every night, in between games. But these guys, one thing that you said at the very beginning was that these guys are young, and watching them play, I mean, they had a spring in their step. They were just out there. And I've watched years past and stuff, and I'm not, again, I'm not an expert or anything like that, and don't pretend to be, but I can tell as an athlete when you're moving a little bit different, when you've got that spring in your step and you've got that determination look on your face and everything. So I don't know, we'll wait and see what happens with the knockout round and who's in there, but the next 3 weeks it could be a lot of fun for us.
Yes, man. I'm looking forward to it right here all the way through July 4th. The semifinals, one set in Atlanta. I believe Dallas is hosting the other semifinal. That'll be on the 15th, I believe, of July. So we'll go right through the middle of next month, man, as we creep ever closer to July 4th. And speaking of, on the other side of this break, we've got some July 4th news to share with you right here about the program. Stay with us right here on this Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant, presented by your friends at Foundation Wealth in Dalton. Dave Garner, John Davis with you right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Welcome to your hometown pub. Open 7 days a week, the pub in LJ is your happy hour hangout. They offer a variety of dishes to satisfy every palate, and their friendly staff is here to ensure a wonderful time. Join them for daily happy hour specials Monday through Thursday. And don't forget, every Wednesday is Wing Wednesday with $1 wings all day long. Located at 941 Maddox Drive in East LJ. Open Sunday through Wednesday till midnight, Thursday through Saturday till 2 a.m. The pub in LJ, where every visit feels like home.
We are off and running here in San Diego. Shane Van Gisbergen quickly up to the gearbox. He'll clear everybody.
Ryan Blaney wins stage number one. One car gets spun around and it's Chris Buescher. Shane Van Gisbergen, he's going to force them 3 wide on the front straightaway. Rolls out of the throttle, thinks better up, and there's crashing at the front of the field. It was Connor Zilic and Austin Hill got together.
Ryan Preece has won stage 2.
Here comes Chris Buescher to the inside of Ryan Preece. He'll take the lead. Challenge and change for the race lead. Ryan Blaney goes to the top spot. Carson Hosevar gets tapped by Corey Hine, and he goes around. Up front
goes into the corner. They bounce off each other. It's Heim, though, out of 4. That's got the advantage by a half a car length. Naval Base Coronado military time. Locally, it's 17:15. In NASCAR, it's Heim time. Corey Heim has won the Anduril 250 race on the base.
That's what it sounded like over the weekend for Corey Heim, who wins at San Diego, the first ever NASCAR race there at the Naval Base in San Diego, man. They were doing the broadcast from an aircraft carrier. Again, the Sports Pig right here on the home of ESPN Radio is your home for Cup racing action right here each and every week. Again, our partners at MRN and PRN, again, bringing it to you each and every weekend right here. Appreciate you guys being back with us on this Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. Dave Garner, the professor, alongside the refrigerator mover, John Davis. Once again, the Jasper Coca-Cola text line open at 866-888-0744. And, John, we talked about it before the break, and we mentioned it a little bit over the weekend. But you and I, man, we've got our July 4th plans nailed down now a little bit.
Yeah, how exciting. You know, I never thought that I would put emceeing a parade on my bingo card, but it looks like I have a feeling Kyle knew what he was doing, and he was just waiting until the final time we talked to let us know what we were doing on July 4th.
Yeah,
so I guess we're going to be spending it together up in LJ.
We're going to be spending some time together on July 4th. That's right. Again, so we're going to have a busy weekend that weekend celebrating our country's independence, our 250th birthday. Again, it's going to start the day before on July 3rd. Friday, July 3rd, we'll be back at Bradley's for the final leg of our summer brunch and lunch tour, again from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then on Saturday, July 4th, again, July 4th on a Saturday this year, you and I will be in LJ for the Gilmer County fireworks presented by the Gilmer County Chamber of Commerce, the parade, if you will, I guess I should say. It's at 7 o'clock, I believe, on Saturday night. You and I will be doing a broadcast live from there, and we'll also kind of be simulcasting between the radio, and also I think we're probably going to have some sort of a PA system maybe set up or something where people have to sit there and listen to us narrate the parade. But, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. This year's 4th of July festivities have been handed over to the Gilmer County Chamber of Commerce, and we're very excited to partner with Kyle Ray and all of our friends at the Gilmer Chamber for this year's July 4th celebration. Going to be a lot of fun.
You know, I love talking to Kyle, and, of course, we spent a lot of time with him Friday at Bradley's when he stopped by to say hello and, giving out information about all things Gilmer County. You know, I know Kyle from a long time ago, and we grew up kind of together. He's 2 years younger than I am, but I always felt like I was a little bit of his big brother, and another young man, Billy Capstick. They ran around together, and just always felt like I needed to kind of have my hand on him and stuff. But to watch Kyle in this road in this role with a chamber, you can tell how important it is to him, and how much he wants it to succeed, and how much he thinks through. And I like to brag on us tech nerds, because that's what tech teaches us. It teaches us to think, and to look at all things possible. And I think he does a great job with that. And I just think it shows how important this role is to him. And with him being a homegrown boy, I think it's very important that the people on the outside see someone like Kyle, and just just how good he feels about where we're headed as a county.
I love it. Again, join us on July 4th. John and I will be there as we get set for the parade. And then I know over on our sister station, 101.1 The Pulse, man, we're going to be spread out all over the place over on that side of the dial. Calhoun, Dalton, a lot of our North Georgia areas, I think we're going to be splitting up. This weekend, they've got fireworks down in Ball Ground, and I know that, the Pulse will be broadcasting from there as well. So over the next couple of weeks, both of these radio stations will be very busy, and that was part of the news that we didn't share on Friday because we were still ironing out some of the details. But, again, we wanted to share that with you right here. As we said, last week, man, you guys got to keep listening because we're going to keep introducing some new announcements and things, over the next couple weeks as we kind of lead in to training camp and to football. And again, our Jasper Coca-Cola text line is open as always, 866-888-0744. 888-866-3844. What were your biggest takeaways from training camp? Your team's out there. I know you and I talked a little bit off air about the Bills and kind of the philosophy this year. I know there's a lot of talk in the Atlanta camp about the quarterback situation, obviously, with Tua Tagovailoa and, of course, Michael Penix Jr. What do they do there? You've got Trevor Siemian, a veteran that's come in as sort of a number 3 guy, but they really like this undrafted kid, that Strand out of small college, man. I mean, he's made an impression as well. Zachariah Branch, the rookie out of Georgia, has raised some eyebrows during minicamp this past week. So, camp coming to a close now, and the next time that we see these guys on the field will be training camp, when it opens up here.
Yeah, and so like I said before, it's changed a whole lot. I've tried to get in touch with Big Red out at Texas, but he was doing some charity functions over the weekend. I think now what's going on, and I just read a story about Carson Beck, out in Arizona. He's like working 12, 13, 14-hour days, and I was like, Carson, that's a regular day for us during the season, son. I said, yeah. I don't want to burst your bubble, but yeah, that's how many hours we work during the season. But no, it's good to see him. It's good to see these players stay in there. I think right now it's important that the new players stay close to where they are in the city that they were drafted, because as I have told you, a lot of things can happen once you get out of your little comfort zone. But from what I've heard, look, Dave, everybody this. I mean, we're in helmets and we're in shells and stuff. Everybody's going to look like $1 million. So it's easy to get excited. I think more than anything, some of these coaches and some of these GMs are watching the players' actions and movements on the field, in the classroom, in the dining hall, in the weight room. I think they're still trying to get to know them and understand, are they willing to put in the work that we're getting ready to go to come, training camp. I think also that the teams already know who's going to make the team. I think, when I was with the Bills, we pretty much, and with Houston, we pretty much knew, the top 45 guys, and now you just had to guess on who the next 8 were, and then you go with your injured reserve and stuff like that. So I think they know who's going to be there. It's just a matter of, are they going to fit? Here's the real test. Are you going to fit into what we're getting ready to do the next 8 months? Because I can tell you, it is a grind, and everybody in their own world has their own grind, but this is just a little bit different when you get into this kind of grind.
Going to say, 12, 13 hours, 14-hour days. Yeah, get used to it, partner. And for a lot of us casual fans, now you have a true inside perspective, and that's one of the things that obviously makes this show great, is because we have you on here to kind of tell us, as casual fans, because folks like me like to think they know what's going on, but we don't. We really don't, and so we have to rely on things like Hard Knocks, which is actually one of my favorite shows. I mean, I love, the way HBO frames it. And I love Hard Knocks, always have. It gives, I think, fans like me, casual folks that have never been in a locker room at that level like you have, the opportunity to maybe take a little sneak peek inside of what it's like. And especially, it's kind of a sobering situation when you see when the cuts start being made and they actually show some of those cuts, the conversations that are had with the coaches and players. And it's like, man, you kind of get a little bit of a sense of the pressure and what it's like to be in that situation.
Kids today, I think, have gotten so much better, especially the ones that maybe weren't drafted as higher, is that they understand now that this is a business. Yeah. I think back when I was playing, even before and even a little bit after, you would take it personal. That you would get cut, and then what are you supposed to do now? The younger kids, I do think in that standpoint or whatever, is that they have a better leg up because they understand it is a business. Right. I just think that it's. There's just so much pressure put on these kids to come out and do all the right things at once that, you try to get this great fit with this NFL team that can take this player and put him into a group of 53 that's going to win you a national or a championship. A lot harder than it is, than it appears. The Hard Knocks, I believe, at the very beginning was very good because all the players weren't trying to get their next reality show on TV and and stuff. You know,
Right,
the first 4 or 5 were actually really good, and it showed the meats and bones of the show and everything. I think as it's gone along, it's gotten a little bit more showy, but I mean that happens with any show.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the rookie talent shows and things that a lot of these teams now they're making them do for entertainment value. So
Hard Knocks. Listen, I'll tell you this. I'm sorry. I'll tell you this. Hard Knocks wouldn't have made it back when I played, and if you and I can promise you they would have been locked out of the locker rooms back in the 70s and 60s with the old Packers and Raiders and Steelers and all. They're like, get the hell out of here. You know, we're not doing this unless you got a 6-pack of beer and a pack of Marlboros.
Hey, I'm sure they'd oblige, but at the same time, you're right. Definitely a different era now. So we're in an age of video and social media, and
they're in the locker room. They're in the locker room trading recipes on carrot juice and stuff. Back in the 60s, they were trying to figure out what liquor went with the best beer, and then to top it off, what cigarettes are we going to have?
What goes with this and that?
Exactly. It's changed a little bit.
That's funny. Yeah, my grandfather used to do a weekly show with Vince Lombardi, actually, and
oh wow,
he was a broadcaster, but I mean, he used to talk about the training table and used to talk about some of those guys and how just the amount of food, that those guys could put away and just different stuff. And my grandfather was a big guy too, but man, no doubt about it, definitely a different time there. Hey, when we come back, our final segment of the program here today on this Monday morning quarterback edition, brought to you by our friends at Foundation Wealth in Dalton. We'll talk a little college football, and of course we'll recap some of the headlines as we get set for a busy week ahead. Stay with us right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Financial scams are on the rise, and with AI, they're getting more and more sophisticated every day. If someone pressures you to act quickly, ask for secrecy, or request payment through gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency, stop. Legitimate financial professionals don't rush you or demand unusual payment methods. Before you send money or share personal information, slow down and verify. Protect your future. When in doubt, ask questions.
If you're suspicious of a scam, call the team at Foundation Wealth today at 706-278-0214.
It's time to roll back the clock and relive the biggest moments from the weekend. This is your Mafia Monday Weekend Rewind with a man who knows what it means to battle in the trenches. It's table crushing time on the Morning Rant.
Back here on this Monday morning quarterback Mafia Monday Rewind. Dave Garner alongside Big John Davis here on an overcast Monday in North Georgia. We talked about it earlier in the program, man. U.S. Open, a lot going on there. Wyndham Clark, of course, taking it. The second-time winner now, 24 multi-time winners of the U.S. Open as he joins the list there. The Braves take 2 out of 3 from the Brewers. They bounce back after a tough stretch. Hopefully they can keep their foot on the gas because, as we mentioned, and as we always talk about, the Phillies just 6.5 back, man. They're not going away. Again, World Cup action, as we talked about, a lot of great matches taking place over the weekend. You look at this week. I mean, you've got, of course, France, Argentina, a lot of big matches coming up. Mercedes-Benz will see a match, I think, Wednesday night. And then, of course, Team USA back on the pitch there on Friday. They've already wrapped up the top spot in group play. So certainly moving on there, as we talked about NASCAR a little bit earlier as well. And the College Baseball World Series, the decisive Game 3 tonight between Oklahoma and North Carolina. Again, the Tar Heels survive elimination yesterday with a 6-2 win over the Sooners, their first loss in more than 22 days. And so now tonight is it, man. And as you said, John, you brought up a good point. It basically ends the sports calendar year for college athletics for the 25-26 season.
Yeah, and we mentioned it Friday as well. These are the only 2 teams that won a series against Georgia Tech. So, so obviously they're 2 great teams. I watched Oklahoma a little bit yesterday, and then I think the last game against Georgia. And, dude, they're just pulling out those pitchers, about every 20, 25 pitches, and I tell you what, the manager of the team, the coach of the team, has played it well. I think what you say, they won 11 or 12 straight in about a 24-day time span, 25-day time span, and then they get snapped last night by North Carolina, who, after watching them, they were just dinking and dunking, and then all of a sudden a home run, and so they're. I mean, I didn't realize North Carolina was as good as they were. Obviously being in the top 5, I should have paid a little bit more attention. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting game. A good, exciting end to the college season of all sports.
Absolutely. Oh, yes, of all sports, as we wrap it up right here. Hey, Corey Heim captured his first career NASCAR Cup Series win as the sport concluded its debut in San Diego. And, again, it was very exciting. You heard the clip a little bit earlier right there. Of course, we talked about Braves getting beat yesterday 9-4. Rough outing for Bryce Elder, 12 hits, 8 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, though, as the Brewers do salvage a game of the series right there. And you were talking about college a little bit earlier there, and one of the things we brought up last week was the new look Pac-12 as things kind of continue to move around. I know our man Chuck Oliver, the king of college football with Southern Sports Today, the Chuck Oliver Show coming up right here in less than 10 minutes right here on the Sports Pig on sportspigradio.com. And he's talked a little bit about it. I mean, Chuck obviously dives in. His show is very, we talk about our show being kind of football-centric. His show obviously centers completely around football. And to your point, John, he talks year-round just like a lot of us do about football because there's always something that happens. But when you talk about the landscape of college football right now, I mean, man, you're just as busy this time of year as you are in season with all the news and legislation like you were talking about earlier and all the different things going on.
Everybody's trying to jockey right now. I'm looking at the rankings or the teams in the NCAA, and it looks like now everybody's jockeying to their conference because they know that that's the way it's going to go at the very end of the day. And what conference is that going to be? I mean, because right now, I'll tell you, the Mountain West with Air Force, Nevada, New Mexico, some of those teams look as good as the Pac-12, to be honest with you. I mean, and then you got over here, you're looking at the American Conference. They're all playing good football. Now, let's hold it back a little bit. They're not, division, the Power 5, but these are teams that you don't want to play during the season. You know what I'm saying? I would much rather, and I wish they would go to it, I would much rather, if you're in a Power 4 conference, your 3 out-of-conference games have to be against Power 4, and no ifs, ands, or buts. And but I don't think we'll see it that way because they're like, well, then we can't help out Charlotte 49ers. This is trust me, they're going to get their money. All that's changed. Because the American Conference is trying to work on their TV deal, whether it be with Peachtree Network or someone. Then you've got the MAC's going to have somebody with a Sports South or Sports Northwest. Out west to take care of them. So, the money part of it, of giving, Gardner Webb $700,000 to come down to Tech to play, I think those days are over. But yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at these. I mean, they have, and it's a shame on me, but they have really buttoned up these conferences. The Sun Belt looks really good. So I still think there's great football to be played, Dave. It's you and I are going to be watching. We're going to be texting on Tuesday night, saying, "God, did you just see that play?" Right. But with some of these teams, it looks like that the conferences that they're putting together is going to be a lot of fun. And then you have the FBS Independents, which Notre Dame, and then you got UConn. UConn. What are you thinking? But yeah. So it's I can't believe I just tuned. I'm staring at it. I can't believe I just got into it because they actually look really good. I mean, I'm not just saying that. They actually look like they've really put the teams and the locations together, and it looks really good. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Conference USA is playing Wednesday games, Tuesday games. I think they've got some Friday. I mean, like they're all over the place. I mean, if you look at Kennesaw State's schedule this year, I mean, they've got. I mean, half their games are during the week, during the the Mid-America. I think it's like the first Monday or the last Monday of September. I can't remember. First Monday of October that we will see football every single day. College football. I mean, obviously besides Sunday, we'll see football all involved during the week and everything. And, you know, the Mid-American Conference, they're always in there on a Monday or Tuesday. And then, of course, you know, with the other stations that are coming in, Dave, the local, you know, regional stations that are coming in, that's how these guys are going to make their money. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
They're going to have to hook on. They're not going to get the huge ESPN, you know, deals that these other places are. But so take what you can get and get that money coming in there, play some good football, and be rewarded hopefully at the end of the year.
There you go. Again, our Jasper Coca-Cola text line is open, 866-888-0744. As we hit the final stretch of our program here today, we did get another texter that said, hey, the sports broadcasting and streaming is so frustrating for fans because you never know if you're going to get the game you want to watch. Amen to that. And that's one of the things we've been talking about right here on the programming. That brings another element in and good timing of what you were just talking about with the TV rights and deals. And obviously the reason the conferences are doing this is to be able to make the TV revenue to be able to play in the middle of the week when there's not any other games going on. So teams like Conference USA or conferences like Conference USA can get that TV revenue because they're not competing with this regular Saturday slate. But to your point, it's only a matter of time, I think, into our listeners comment here that who knows, man, everybody may have their own streaming service before it's all over with.
I mean, it seems like it's going that way, doesn't it? You know, and maybe this bill, maybe there's some stuff in that Trump has gotten involved with to alleviate the streaming stuff. It's got to end somewhere, and if it doesn't, then I mean, I think you're exactly right. I think everybody's just going to go, and you're just going to. I think it'll hurt the game. I think it'll hurt the game overall, fan wise, because you are going to have a set of fans out there that just says, "Screw it, I'm not doing it." You know, and I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I'm that way, but you know, thankfully Georgia Tech's 22 miles south of me, so I can go down there, and then you know their furthest away game, you know, might be California one time, but so I, you know, it's not like I'm going to be hurting not to watch Georgia Tech. So now it's the other games that obviously you like to pass the time away because you know your first game comes on at 11 a.m., the last one kicks off at 12 p.m., and they're like, "You're still watching football? Yeah, there's a game on." You know, what do you think?
You got Colorado and somebody.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah, trust me. This is the most important game that's on right now at midnight. So I've got to watch it.
Exactly. I've had plenty of nights that have gone well after midnight watching some of those, you know, late night Pac-12 or whatever West Coast.
You just got to. You got to.
You have to, man. It's just part of it. 24 hours of football. You know, I used to jump around with my kids. But anyway, oh man, yeah, a lot of fun stuff. Of course, as we continue that conversation, and we'll do that as we work our way closer to our new look morning rant. It's going to go 2 hours starting July 20th from 7 to 9 right here live. And we'll still be on all of our social media platforms. We haven't even thrown that out there today. Again, the Sports Pig on Facebook, the Morning Rant, clips on Instagram, full video episodes on YouTube. Our podcast version of the Morning Rant will still be available on our website every day, sportspigradio.com, and wherever you listen to your favorite daily podcast on both Apple and Android platforms. So even if you can't listen to us live, whether it be at from 10 to 11 or eventually from 7 to 9, you can still listen to the show every day, depending on how you want to listen to it, man. That's the great thing about the times we're in. You can also interact with us on social media, on Twitter. I'm at Dave Garner 777. He's at John Davis _65. And this is the Morning Rant. We're about out of time here today, folks. Thanks for being with us. My man, Big John, bringing it on a Monday, as always, our Mafia Monday Weekend Rewind. And partner, great job as always.
Thank you. Good to see you, buddy.
Yes, sir. We'll do it again here in a couple days. Tomorrow, it's our Rally Towel Tuesday, presented by Geiger Legal Group. We will have our 100% chiropractic moment with our favorite doc, Keith Riggy, at 100% Chiropractic in Canton. We'll keep it real with Billy D, and we'll have our restaurant inspection scores, all that and more. And, of course, don't forget, go ahead and put it on your calendar, July 3rd at Bradley's. Join us 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We'll talk about that throughout the week as well. Stay with us right here. Again, Chuck Oliver up next with Southern Sports Today, the king of college football. You've been listening to the Morning Rant, our Monday morning quarterback edition, brought to you by your friends at Foundation Wealth in Dalton. Right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com. We end every day by saying the same thing. If you don't know, You better ask somebody. We'll see you tomorrow morning right here. Stay with us.
When you get hurt from an accident, it can feel like no one is listening to you. The insurance company talks over you. The bills keep coming. It's like the pain and inconvenience doesn't even matter to them. But your story does matter. And here at Geiger Legal, we will make sure your story is heard loud and clear. My name is Casey Geiger, and my firm stands up for people who have been wronged through someone else's negligence. Let us tell your story. Let us get the justice you deserve, and let's start today.
Call Geiger Legal Group at 833-HELP-GLG. That's 833-HELP-GLG, and let us tell your story today.